Thank you. Usually, when the verse doesn't have a purport, my humble suggestion is to write the next verse that has a purport. So we read both. But we chant this, the one with purport together. Well, that's a suggestion, you know, but okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Janitla Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Totara Satasya Srimad Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Janitla Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Totara Satasya Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Pramseko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasidev Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Harir Nam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th Canto, Chapter 2. Ajamila delivered by the Vishnu Dutas. Text 1 and 2. Yes. There is a chapter introduction. That's okay. Of course, I can do it. Yeah. No, I would like to do it. Sure, of course. All right. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudiraye Nasta prayesha vadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. In this chapter, the messengers from Vaikuntha explain to the Yamadutas the glories of chanting the holy name of the Lord. The Vishnudutas said, now impious acts are being performed even in an assembly of devotees. For a person who is not punishable is going to be punished in the assembly of Yamaraj. The mass of people are helpless and must depend upon the government for their safety and security. But if the government takes advantage of this to harm the citizens, where will they go? We see perfectly that Ajamila should not be punished, although you are attempting to take him to Yamaraj for punishment. It was due to Ajamila's glorifying the holy name of the Supreme Lord that he was not punishable. The Vishnudutas explained this as follows. Simply by once chanting the holy name of Narayana, this Brahmana has become free from the reactions of sinful life. Indeed, he has been freed not only from the sins of this life, but from the sins of many, many thousands of other lives. He has already undergone true atonement for all his sinful actions. If one atones according to the direction of the Shastras, one does not actually become free from sinful reaction. But if one chants the holy name of the Lord, even a glimpse of such chanting can immediately free one from all sins. Chanting the glories of the Lord's holy name awakens all good fortune. Therefore, there is no doubt that Ajamila, being completely free from all sinful reactions, should not be punished by Yamaraj. As they were saying this, the Vishnudutas released Ajamila from the ropes of the Yamadutas and left for their own abode. The Brahmana Ajamila, however, offered his respectful obeisance to the Vishnudutas. He could understand how fortunate he was to have chanted the holy name of Narayana at the end of his life. Indeed, he could realize the full significance of this good fortune. Having truly understood the discussion between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas, he became a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He lamented very much for how very sinful he had been, and he condemned himself again and again. Finally, because of his association with the Vishnudutas, Ajamila, his original consciousness aroused, gave up everything and went to Hardwar, where he engaged in devotional service without deviation. Always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus the Vishnudutas went there, seated him on a golden throne, and took him away to Vaikuntha Loka. In summary, although the sinful Ajamila meant to call his son the holy name of Lord Narayana, even though chanted in the preliminary stage, Namabhasa was able to give him liberation. Therefore, one who chants the holy name of the Lord with faith and devotion is certainly exalted. He is protected even in his material conditional life. Should I read a verse or? Okay. Shri Badarayani Ruvacha Evam te Bhagavadduta Yamaduta Vivashitam Upadayaryatanrajan Pratyahurnayako vidaha. Please chant. Badarayana uvacha. Evam te Bhagavaduta. Yamaduta Bhivyatistam. Upadariyata Tanrajan. Pratyahurnayako vidaha. Bhagavaduvacha. Yamaduta vibhashitam. Padayarta Rajan. Pratyahurnayako vidaha. Ladies? That's okay, no problem. That's fine. All right. Translation, please repeat. Sri Badarayana Uvacha. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, said, Evam, thus, they, Bhagavad Duta, the servants of Lord Vishnu, Yamaduta, by the servants of Yamaraj, Abhibhashitam, what was spoken, Upadarya, hearing, Ata, then, Tan, and to them, Rajan, O king, Pratyahu, replied properly, Nayakovita, being conversant in good arguments or good logic. Translation, Shukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, the servants of Lord Vishnu are always very expert in logic and argument. After hearing the statements of the Yamadutas, they replied as follows. Shri Vishnu Duta Uchu, Aho Kashtam Dharmadrisham Adharma Sprishate Sabham Yatra Dandyeshu Apapeshu Dandoyair Driyate Vrita. The Vishnuduta said, alas, how painful it is that irreligion is being introduced into an assembly where religion should be maintained. Indeed, those in charge of maintaining the religious principles are needlessly punishing a sinless, unpunishable person. The Vishnudutas accused the Yamadutas of violating the religious principles by attempting to drag Ajamila to Yamaraj for punishment. Yamaraj is the officer appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to judge religious and irreligious principles and to punish people who are irreligious. However, if completely sinless people are punished, the entire assembly of Yamaraj is contaminated. This principle applies not only in the assembly of Yamaraj, but throughout human society also. In human society, properly maintaining religious principles is the duty of the king's court or the government. Unfortunately, in this yuga, Kali Yuga, the religious principles are tampered with, and the government cannot properly judge who is to be punished and who is not. It is said that in the Kali Yuga, if one cannot spend money in court, one cannot get justice. Indeed, in court of justice, it is often found that magistrates are bribed for favorable judgment. Sometimes religious men who preach the Krishna consciousness movement for the benefit of the entire populace are arrested and harassed by the police and courts. The Vishnudutas, who are Vaishnavas, lamented for this very regrettable facts. Because of their spiritual compassion for all the fallen souls, Vaishnavas go out to preach according to the standard method of all religious principles. But unfortunately, because of the influence of Kali Yuga, Vaishnavas who have dedicated their life to preaching the glories of the Lord are sometimes harassed and punished by courts on false charges of disturbing the peace. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble and respectful obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here is the situation. The Vishnudutas confronting the Yamadutas. They challenge them that you don't know what you're doing. You are supposed to be a servant of Yamaraj and supposed to know religious principles, but you are acting in a way which is irreligious. So we can't allow you to take a jamil to the court of Yamaraj, because you will do a great disservice to your master by doing so. Because all the assembly of Yamaraj will be contaminated if you take an innocent person to be judged when he's innocent. So that's a very good, great argument. Of course, Yamaduta have the argument also that this man is led a very sinful life, so how can you deny us to arrest him? I mean, he's a criminal. Of course, they're right also. I mean, they have the right to arrest criminals at the time of death and take them to be judged by Yamaraj, who's the agent of the Lord to judge sinful people after death. That's his duty to do. And since in direct touch with the Lord as Paramatma in his heart, he never make a mistake in his judgment. Because the Lord knows perfectly what everybody does or think or feel, whatever it is possible. When Prabhupada was a child and was going to the Scottish schools, Christian in Calcutta, one of his professors challenged that the law of karma. He said that if there is no witness, who's gonna say who did what to pay karma? Prabhupada said at that time, I didn't know answer, but this man doesn't know that the witness is the Lord in the heart. Paramatma, he knows everything. You can't hide anything from him. It's impossible. So, no matter if human justice fail, the divine justice never fail. Sooner or later, they will have to pay for their crime. So there is no mistake there. But in this particular situation was different, because according to the Shastra, if at the time of death one remembers the Lord, he is freed from all his past sinful activities. It was actually an extraordinary situation. It was not a common situation. It didn't happen usually. It doesn't happen, this situation like this. This is exceptional. What we are reading here is exceptional situation, and can be applied to anyone or everyone. I mean, to say as far as we know is the only story like this in the Bhagavatam that explained at the time of death, a very sinful man was saved by chanting the holy name. And his chanting was Namabhasa. Namabhasa means almost, not completely, but almost offenseless. And why his chanting was considered offenseless if he was doing bad things? Because he didn't mean to chant to counteract his offenses, which will be one of the biggest offense. But rather he was just calling his son. Not only at the time of death, he was calling his son for a long time, and since the boy was born, he was calling him Narayan. So Narayan, come sit in my lap, Narayan, come to eat, So he was chanting, and without his knowledge, he was getting purified. He was becoming purified by this chanting, regular chanting of the name Narayana. The name Narayana means Nara, all living entities, and Ayana means He is the sustainer. So the Lord sustained all living entities. He maintained all living entities. So this name is very powerful, one of the names of Lord Krishna. There is a story that once Ramanujacharya wanted to get a powerful mantra from a guru. And he approached the guru and asked him, I hear you have a very powerful mantra, please can you give it to me? The guru said, no, I can't give it to you, it's a secret mantra. So anyway, Ramanujacharya insisted a few times until finally the guru said, okay, I will give you this mantra, but you have to promise me that you will not give it to anyone else. Okay, I promise. Okay, he received the mantra, and the mantra was Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha. That was the mantra. So he heard the mantra, repeated the mantra, learned the mantra, and as soon as he left the place, he went to the temple and assembled all the people, thousands of people there who were coming out and in the temple, and with very loud voice he spoke to them. Do you, because he asked them, do you want to become liberated? Do you want to go to Vaikuntha? And all people shouted, yes, we want. All right, very good. So please repeat after me this mantra. Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha. All the people chanted once and again the mantra. When the Guru heard about it, he became very angry at Ramanujacharya. He asked him to come to see him. And he was chastising him. Why you gave the mantra? I told you not to do it. Why you disobey me? And Ramanujacharya said, please forgive me. You told me that by chanting this mantra, anyone can be liberated and go to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. So, although I promised you not to give it to anyone, I thought if I break this promise, I may go to hell. But if the people who chant the mantra, the thousands of people I gave it to, they go to Vaikuntha, I will be happy even in hell. So the Guru understood his compassion, his love for the people, and he hugged him. He said, you are better devotee than me. You are more compassionate than me. Yeah? So, anyway, at the time of death, he was going to die, Ajamil, and he was calling for his son who was nearby, But then, when he said Narayana, he remembered the original Narayana, the Supreme Lord. Before he was just calling his son, he gave the son named Narayan. But at the last moment of dying, he remembered the original Narayan. And that's when Lord Narayan sent his servant, the Vishnuruta, to rescue him. So they came and stopped the Yamautas. You can't take this man. He's under protection now. It's not under your jurisdiction anymore. It's under other jurisdictions. So they were challenged like that. And the argument went back and forth. But the Vishnuduta came out successful in stopping them, and Jamil was saved. By hearing the Vishnudutas, he became very much enlightened and purified. And very interesting, Prabhupada said that by chanting the holy name, he was not just purified from the present life sins, but from many thousands of previous lives. So that shows how powerful the holy name of the Lord is. Even if chanted in the middle stage, there are 3 stages of chanting the holy name: Nama Paradha, Nama Basa, and Shuddhana. The first stage, everybody goes through it, committing offenses. And what is the most common offense? Inattention. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, if we don't make our effort to improve our attention in chanting, that may lead us to commit more offenses. So we have to make a great effort to be more attentive in our chanting. That's very, very important. Because if we make the effort, when the mind wants to slip away, we will notice and we'll bring it back. But if we don't make the effort, we don't even notice that the mind is somewhere else. And we keep chanting mechanically. So, Srila Jiva Goswami recommends that one should chant the name of the Lord with feelings. Like a helpless child calling for his mother. That's the way we should chant the holy name. A helpless, hungry child, he cries out to his mother so the mother can come and feed him. A child who doesn't cry, he will not get breast milk. So that helplessness comes when we actually feel that without the mercy of the Lord, without the protection of the Lord, we are lost in this material world. We shall feel helpless and in need of the Lord's attention, protection. So our negative side, that we need the love and nourishment and the attention of the Lord to get out of this material entanglement, with the desire to, of course, to please and to serve the Lord better. So that's why Jiva Goswami recommends one should chant with the helpless child crying out to his mother. Of course, most of the time we don't do that. We just chant because we have to chant. But we should come to the point of, I'm not chanting because I have to, but because I like to, I want to, to please Krishna. I want to. Of course, it's good to have a sense of duty. I promise to chant, this amount, 16 rounds, so I have to fulfill my promise. That's good to be responsible. But beyond that, one should try to develop taste for the holy name. That's Mahaprabhu's instruction. 3 things very important. Lord Chaitanya emphasized that Namaruchi, Jivedaya, Vaishnava Seva. Develop taste for the holy name of the Lord, Namaruchi. Jivedaya, show compassion for those who have forgotten Krishna. And Vaishnava Seva, serve the Vaishnavas. These 3 things are very, very important. Isn't it? So Ramanujacharya emphasized very much the service of the devotee, to serve the devotees, very much. There was one servant of Lord Chaitanya named Kalidas. He was very, very much in love to serve the devotees. He will not miss any opportunity to serve the Vaishnavas. And he will collect some money and arrange for great amounts of prasad being cooked and offered to the Lord, and then invite all the Vaishnava and personally will serve all of them, That was his greatest happiness, to see the Vaishnavas happy by taking Krishna Prasad, And after he served all the devotees, he himself will collect the plates and he will eat the remnants left by the devotees, even if they were neophyte. He didn't care if they were advanced or new devotee. He didn't mind. He will eat all the remnants of everyone. So one day, he went to visit one great Vaishnava named Mamu Thakur, who was a pure devotee. Mamu Thakur. He was a Grihastha devotee, married, and he took a bag full of mangoes to give to him. So Mamu Thakur was coming from, not a Brahman family, but another, kind of family. And Kalidas was a Brahmana. So Mamu Thakur said, no, I should be serving you. I can't accept service from you. You're a Brahmana, I'm Sudra, so I can't accept your service. No, this is not for you. This is for your deities. You have deities of Krishna at home. Please accept this so you can offer your deities this. Okay, in that case I can accept. So Mamu Thakur, he, cut the mangoes, offered to his deity of Lord Krishna. But Kalidas was hiding outside the house behind the tree. So after offering the mangoes to the Lord, Mamu Thakur and his wife sat down and ate the mangoes. And after finishing eating mango, she took the garbage and threw it outside the house. That's one important thing, Prabhupada never liked overnight organic waste in his apartment or wherever he was staying. He should go out every day organic waste, So that was like tradition in Vedic culture. You don't keep overnight in your house organic waste, So the lady, she took out this outside, threw it in the can, and when she entered the house, Kalidas came out from his hiding and went to the trash can and immediately started licking the mangoes and that left by the devotees, by Mamu Thakur and his wife. So he had great faith in the prasadam and the prasad left by the devotees. I mean, three things are very powerful. The water that washed the pure devotee's feet, the dust from his feet, and the remnant of his food. These three things, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, are very powerful substances, spiritual substances. Then something amazing happened after that. Lord Chaitanya would go visit the temple of Lord Jagannath daily. And many of us devotees, associates, come along with him. And before entering the temple, somebody will come and wash his feet because they walk barefoot, so sometimes a lot of dust in the feet. So they wash it before entering the temple. That was the tradition. But Lord Chaitanya forbade anyone to drink this water falling from his feet. That was an instruction nobody will dare to disobey. But while his feet were being washed, Kalidas was there and he jumped in and drank 3 times the water from the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. All the devotees were in shock. Wow, he's going to be chastised now, for disobeying. But Lord Chaitanya just smiled at him. He said, okay, Kalidas, you satisfied your desire, drink it 3 times. That's good enough. He didn't get angry or anything at him, because the Lord was pleased that he loved to serve the Vaishnavas. So that's a very important thing to do. So any opportunity you have to serve the Vaishnavas, you should not let it go. You should take advantage of it, and show compassion for those who have forgotten Krishna. Try to remind them of Krishna. Give them the book, invite them to the temple. Try to show some compassion. and develop a taste for chanting, chanting the holy name. I'll tell you one amazing story I heard some time ago about this taste for chanting. Srila Bhakti Sundar Saraswati Thakur made an advertisement in a newspaper in Calcutta that anyone who wants to join the temple, the mat, can come. And if he only wants to do chanting, that's all right. He doesn't have to do anything else. Just chant the holy name. So some people came. Oh, it's a great opportunity, a place to sleep and eat and only chant. But the majority of them didn't stay long. After some time, they couldn't keep doing it, so they left. Only one stayed. Of course, he became disciple. He was initiated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But the other disciple complained that his name was Krishna Das. No? So Krishna Das only chanting all day. He doesn't do any other service. We have to do other service. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta say, if you can chant like him day and night, I will release you from your service and only do the chanting. Nobody did it, of course. Because Krishna Das became later Babaji, renounced. He will chant not only during the day, but also throughout the night. He may sleep like 2-3 hours, more or less. But the rest of the time he was chanting. Anyway, once in a meeting, Prabhupada invited his godbrothers, Mayapur, and some of them came, and Krishnadas Babaji was also there. And he challenged his godbrother. He said, do you know why our godbrother Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj succeeded in preaching the holy name around the world, and you didn't, and you didn't? They were silent, they wouldn't say anything. But he told them, Krishnadas Babaji told them, because he had full faith in the holy name of Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada did. He took the holy name out in the park. He was under the tree, chanting the holy name. Anybody remember the name of that park in New York?
Square Park.
Thompson Square Park. I went to that park, of course, in '76. First big New York Ratha Yatra. We went there, had the opportunity to visit this park. But I went a few years ago, recently, in one Ratha Yatra, and I went to that park again, and there is a sign on the tree, Hare Krishna tree. A plaque, Hare Krishna tree, commemoration. And I saw something amazing. Some old ladies came and took something out of their bag, like some kind of offering, I didn't know exactly what it was, a flower or something like that, and put it under the tree.
That's right.
Few of them, one after the other. And I was surprised. Maybe those ladies were there when Prabhupada came to sing, the Maha Mantra. So, yeah, under that tree and gave a speech, preaching Krishna consciousness. So that was amazing. I remember one incident when the 76 Rath Yatra in New York, at the park, I think it was Washington Square Park, where the Yatra happened. And one man was criticizing Prabhupada because they brought a limousine for Prabhupada, nice big car and everything. So Prabhupada asked the devotee what he's saying. Prabhupada is saying that you are riding this big car, and he's criticizing. Prabhupada said, tell him that he followed the 4 rules, no illicit sex, no gambling, no addiction, no eat meat, he can sit next to me in the car. And they told the man, and when they told the man, said, no, thank you. Hare Krishna. So anyway, I mean to say, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was when he was old, he was ill, and he had some heart problems. So the devotee wanted to take him to the doctor, but he refused. He said, "I don't want to," But they brought the doctor to him. And the doctor was examining his heartbeat, with a stethoscope. He was examining. And when he heard this heartbeat, he was like struck with a thunderbolt, something. He was completely speechless. He couldn't speak, So the devotee, "What happened? Is something wrong with Maharaj?" He said, No. You will not believe me if I tell you, I want one of you to hear it just to be sure that I'm not mishearing something. So one devotee also was trying to hear, and instead of the heartbeat, he heard Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. From the heart. The heart was beating the Maha Mantra. That's a real story, So they understood how exalted was Krishnadas Babaji, that in his heart, the soul was chanting the holy name. Sometimes devotees ask me what to do to chant better rounds, to concentrate more better, I just tell them, we should try to meditate on the fact that when I'm chanting round, who's chanting? My hand, my tongue, my mind is chanting? No. You, the soul, is chanting. Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, what should I do when I chant my mind, give me trouble. Prabhupada said, what is the question of the mind? You are chanting. You chant. What is the question of the mind? So, if the soul surrendered to the holy name, sincerely, there is no question of being distracted or inattentive while chanting. That has to come from the soul desire to surrender to Krishna. So who's chanting? We, the soul, we are chanting. We are in need of shelter. We are in need of spiritual nourishment. We are in need of the mercy of the holy name. So if we chant in that mood, then we are going to make more advancement in our spiritual life. So although Ajamil was saved from being taken to hell, he nonetheless understood his situation, and he went to Hardwar and took shelter in a temple and performed devotional service for the rest of his life. Wasn't much left, he was 80 years old, was old. So, and that means that this happened sometime in Kali Yuga, because the life in Kali Yuga is up to 100 years. And Dwapara was 1,000, so this didn't happen in Dwapara Yuga, or must have happened sometime in Kali Yuga. So, and then when he died, the Vishnuduta came in an airplane and took him back to Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. The same ones, yeah. The same Vishnuduta who saved him from going to a day camp, take him to Vaikuntha. So, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to glorify a little bit the holy name. And if you have any comment or question, please do. Yes, Maharaj.
No, I just have a quick comment. That because the Prabhupada talks in the purport about sometimes devotees are harassed.
Yes.
And I counted it up the other day. I was arrested 10 times as a devotee. Wow. And one time we were arrested in Rockford, Illinois. It was myself, 2 other devotees, and a couple local city kids. A couple black kids were dancing along with us. We were doing Harinam, and we were all arrested. They let the kids go, but they arrested us for holding a parade without a license.
I was also arrested.
I wanted to ask you. I didn't want to put you on the spot. It's a badge of honor.
Hare Krishna. I mean, a few times. Huh?
How were you arrested?
Okay, I will tell the first time I was arrested. The temple was raided by the police.
Where
in Caracas, Venezuela. That was in 74. What happened is that at that time there were other religious groups, like the Children of God, you know, Guru Maharaj. You may not know these groups now because almost not disappeared probably. But at that time they were popular, and you know, many young people would join them also. And the families were concerned because some of this group will you know, they allow illicit sex and intoxication. This group, the Children of God, the founder named David, he was a Bhakta in the San Francisco temple. And he didn't like the principle of no illicit sex. So he made his own movement, and he misinterpreted the Bible when Jesus said, love each other, that free sex with anyone, with everyone, is loving each other. That, and
celibate. It's not celibate, it's celebrate. It's a mistype.
Yeah, right. Anyway, and he I mean, he did the great damage because not only that, he will not allow people to have their own family. He said, it should be only one family. You can have sex with the wife of anyone and men with anyone. Everything is like a big orgy or something, you know. It's crazy. I mean, some girls who left that movement, they spoke out in the news about all the deviation and all the psychological damage they did to them, you know. It's horrible, anyway. And the other group, Guru Maharaj, he said that he is Krishna. So sometime he will dress as Krishna, go on a stage and take a, what you call a syringe, and not only syringe, sometimes he will take a big, you know, and everyone, you know, hose, you know, and he will get wet everyone, all ecstasy, you know. Krishna is, and the guy was a big rascal, you know, because he has a big limousine, and he always have a fridge in his car with ice cream. He loved ice cream. But he also liked his secretary. He ran away with his female secretary and all the money. A big rascal. Anyway, so the police, the government were worried that this new movement are, you know, doing something wrong. So they put us in the package too. We didn't do anything wrong, but still they want to investigate everyone, you know, every movement. So one day, without any notice, they arrived at our temple. And they came with boots and machine guns, and they searched all the temple. We couldn't, you know, we were helpless. We can't tell them, take off your shoes, you know. Anyway, they searched all the temple. They didn't find anything wrong. They thought maybe we can find drugs or whatever, underage people. They didn't find any of that. But still they told us, we are going to take you to the police station. You're arrested for investigation. So the temple president told them, we don't have time to finish our morning program. Can you please allow us some time? The Bhagavatam class wasn't finished yet. So the temple president asked me, Rabaho Prabhu, please translate something from the Krishna book, read it from English to Spanish. There was no Spanish at that time, much books. So Rabaho opened randomly the book, Krishna book, and the first page of the chapter entitled, Kamsa's Persecution. Yeah, we all laughed, you know, the coincidence. Police were, wow, we're arresting them and they're laughing, you know, what's wrong with these people? So anyway, after half an hour, we're reading, they took us all, I mean, we were 30 devotees, they put us and took us. And they put us in cell, we were behind bars, you know. But we took the Mirdanga Kartar with us. We have a kirtan inside the cells. Yeah. There were other cellmates there also, you know. People were arrested there also. They also accompany us chanting, you know. Anyway, at noontime, some devotee who lived outside, they heard about it. So because we left without having breakfast or anything, so they brought us bucket of prasad to the jail, and we instructed, please give prasad to the police who arrested us also, and to the other cellmate too, please give them prasad. So the policemen were started, they were apologizing. With so many criminals out there, we're wasting your time with you. We know you are good people. We have to obey, orders. What can we do? Please forgive us. I say, okay, we understand. And in the evening, they released us. Only the president, his mother has to come with a lawyer to release him because they don't want to release him. Their idea was to frighten us, so instead of going back to the temple, we would go back to, our houses, whatever. But that didn't happen. We became more determined than ever. No matter what, we are not going, to give up, So that was the first time. There were more other times on Sankirtan also, and book distribution, few times, like that. Anyway, so.
Who was the temple president? Who was the temple president?
At that time was Biraha Prakash, yes.
Another time we were arrested. We were arrested in Nashville, Tennessee. We were distributing books in a mall, and we were arrested. And they kept us overnight. There was a guy, also, like you say, we were sharing the cell, so we had to stay up all night because he said, as soon as you fall asleep, I'm cutting that thing off. Our Sika, And, okay, so we were awake all night long. And they took away our Brahman threads because they thought we might hang ourselves. But the Brahman thread, but the blissful part, and this is the buckle of the Bible belt. I mean, this is about as fundamentalist Christian as you can get, right?
Yeah.
And they took us before the city prosecutor. The whole thing, judge is up there, and they got other cases lined up in there. And the guy says, they say they're preaching the message of God, just like Jesus. But this is their religion. And he gave the guy a Back to Godhead magazine that we've been distributing. There's a picture of Radha Krishna on the front. He said, this is their blue God, and this is their she-God, Radharani.
Oh my God.
And those guys are going to roast us. I thought, we'll never get out of here. And the judge said, what are you doing, son? Asked me, And I said, just like Jesus and the prophets. I explained what we're doing, And he said, and I mentioned Gita, Bhagavad Gita. He said, oh. I said, here, and I showed him the Gita. I said, this is, accepting, whatever. I give the, presentation about Bhagavad Gita short, He said, oh, Bhagavad Gita. Put his hand on it and said, I read this in college. Turned to the prosecutor, city prosecutor, said, you should be ashamed of yourself. He said, we've got muggers and robbers and thieves running wild, and you're picking up these boys, monks spreading the word of God. I want you to apologize. I want you to take them back to their van, and they can do anything they want in this city. And the best part of it was, we were kind of cheap in those days. I went to take the Gita off his desk. Judge said, you mind if I keep that, son? So the judge kept the Bhagavad Gita.
Very good. The story that...
I wanted to get another one out of you. That was my idea.
Yeah,
I wanted to get another story.
Sure. The story doesn't finish there. After they released us, the next day on the newspaper, came out the front page, Hare Krishna temple raided. They found an arsenal of weapons.
What sweet balls?
Wait. Weapons, they found weapons, I mean, my God, we're in shock, this is lie, So, but what happened is that sometimes bad people will come to our temple and throw eggs and throw bottles, drunk people, crazy people. So we asked for police protection, and the police said, we can't help you. You can put your own guard, pay your own guard, that's okay, but we don't have no time for you. So we put a guard, and he was every night guarding the temple with a rifle, But most of the time he will fall asleep. And one night a thief came in and stole the rifle from him. So the devotees woke up, and one of the devotees was chasing the thief and fight with the thief and got the rifle back. So when the police raided the temple, they found this rifle. So we explained to them that this belonged to the guard, night guard. But how newspaper want to sell, so they put an arsenal of weapons were found. But next day, a lawyer came to the temple, and he said, "I'm a lawyer." "Oh, more problems." "No, I come to help you. I'm very much disturbed at what they did to you. I think was unjust, and I'm not going to charge anything from you." So he forced the newspaper to rectify their mistakes, Yeah, he forced them. But he came to know the devotees because when the movement was just starting in South America, one of the devotees was preaching in the university to communists, He didn't know most of the students were communists, atheists. And they get angry at him because he was preaching God consciousness, And, "Oh, you are a CIA agent coming to brainwash the young people here in South America, So they wanted to beat him up, He was running for his life, and they were shouting after him, And this lawyer was passing in his car, and he saw a man with orange robes running for his life. So he stopped his car, opened the back door, and waved at him, The devotee jumped in the car, and he saved his life. So that same lawyer came to, and he met Prabhupada actually. When Prabhupada went there, Prabhupada liked him very much. He started chanting japa and everything. There are pictures of him. 75. Yeah, in 75, So.
I didn't mean to interrupt. No, it's just, how did we get out of jail from Rockford, Illinois?
Yeah.
We're sitting at 3 devotees. We were sitting in jail, and we were arrested on a Friday. And we got a call to our GBC, Bhagwan in Detroit, Bhagavan Das. And he said, "I can't get anybody till Monday." Typical reaction of the brahmacharis. "Well, we're going to miss the Sunday feast." That was our big issue. We didn't mind so much being in jail; we could chant, but Sunday feast was a bit of a rub. So then, about 4 or 5 hours later, they said, "Oh, you got bailed out." So we think, fantastic, Bhagavan must have figured something out. And we walked out. We're dressed like this. We walked out. And there was a Christian minister. And he was shocked to see us. We were shocked to see him. He thought that some Christian missionaries, he'd heard via the grapevine, that some religious people distributing the word of God. So he thought we were young Christian ministers, and he bailed us out. He was shocked to see us. We were shocked to see him. He was an Episcopal minister. He's a nice guy. So we talked to, what are you guys all about? We said, "Well, thanks a lot." And he liked it. And so he whatever. We went on our way, he went on. But there was an article in the Rockford paper, and I bet somebody could find it in the archives, that, whatever their paper was. But he wrote an article criticizing that these are moral people. He talked about the 4 regulative principles. This is what we're looking for. We got these waves of crazy hippies and drugs, and these people are arguing against it. These are the kind of people you should be embarrassed. And he was the head of the ecumenical council. He was like a big guy, amongst the religious leaders. And in those days, they had some weight. And we got an apology from the Rockford City Council. And they invited us that we could participate any time we wanted, and in their annual 4th of July parade.
Wonderful.
Because we've been arrested for having a parade without a license, so they said we could join in their Shriners parade. 4th. We never went. We should have gone, but
yeah. Both of you, Maharaj, should write your memoirs.
This is invaluable.
Yeah.
Let me say, what I wanted to say is these are just a sampling. And we should all remember, that we really do. Of course, we don't stand on the shoulders of giants. We take the dust from their feet. But the sacrifice that devotees went through to start this movement, just, brainwashing and crazy this and that, and living in bowling. The first temple in Montreal was a converted bowling alley. When you just think, like this building that we're sitting in, this was paid off by devotees. Where's John? No, they've gone home. But by devotees selling stickers at SeaWorld and selling records and, any schlock we could get our hands on. Yeah. I'm not advocating that, but I'm saying, and it's amazing what the devotees went through.
Yeah, I can tell you when we started, the movement started in South America, and it was a great austerity because we didn't have any money. No money. Unless we go out and distribute books, there was no prasad to eat. That's simple. And we didn't have a mattress to sleep on. We just have a, like what do you call? The what do you call the cushion? Not cushion. Mat. A grass mat, to sleep on, and no cover, no pillow. We only use our hand as pillow. And we didn't have dhotis or tilak or any of that. So we will buy,
Polyester gold.
for whatever, and we use it. And not only that, we are so poor. No brahmachari had his own toothpaste. Only the temple commander has a toothpaste, and we have to line up, and he will give us a little bit in the finger. Really. And if
I remember trying to get a Wishi, but I was on traveling Sankirtan. We stopped at the New Orleans temple, Nityananda. If you know, this is not the blissful Texas Nityananda, but the old. Yeah, man. So we had no money, and there's no question of spending out of the Sankirtan money. I mean, that was just like, what? So I asked him, do you have any extra toothpaste? Toothbrush. He said, toothbrush. He said, look in the basement, there's a desk there, 3rd drawer bottom. I went down, there was an old toothbrush they'd used to clean out auto parts. It was black with no bristle. I was shocked. I said, what? He said, boil it out, it'll work fine. So we had, when I was the temple president in Ann Arbor, there were so many times I paid the rent in rolled quarters. $125 was a monthly, on the rent on the building, and I paid it in rolled quarters. In a sock. Here you go, buddy.
we didn't have also tilak. As tilak, we used a brand of shoe polisher called Griffin. We use it white color. We use it as a tilak. We didn't have, really, I mean to say was. And when we go on Sankirtan traveling, we don't have money to pay a hotel or anything. We will sleep in the van or in the park, whatever. Sometimes the police arrest us for sleeping. Or we go to if we are in the nearby the ocean, we'll go sleep on the sand, the mosquito biting all night, and take a bath in the ocean in the early morning, It was, really, really austere,
As Prabhupada said, a transcendental adventure.
Yeah, very, very.
We learned to transcend.
My God. I mean to say, we went, and sometime we go for a shower, we go to the gas station, and they have this, this, what do you call,
Pump with the air and with the water.
yeah, but it comes out forcefully. So we are in a gamcha, and one brahmachari was really, really austere. And
Just one quick one. We used to sneak into, they were called KOAs, Campgrounds of America, they're still around. And we would, if you go in after 10 o'clock, the guard isn't there, they just have an honor system, Yeah. And if you leave before 7, the guards aren't up. So you come in after 10, you can sleep, you use the shower for free in those days, and you could just clear out. We're up early, so we would go and chant our japa. So we'd be in and out. We'd come in after the guard had gone to bed, and we'd leave before the guard got up. We did it for years. And devotees evidently across America did it. So we were in, I forget where it was Tennessee somewhere, or Arkansas or something, and we snuck in at night, and we were all getting ready to go to sleep. And so, shaved head, one devotee saying Gayatri, another devotee zipped up in his paw, had like one of those bags, because it was cold. We had no heaters. And, you pull up, what they call mummy bag, just your face is there, like that zip. So this good old boy, evidently he'd been burned by a number of devotees in and out, and he was going to get them this time. He was going to catch these shaved-headed guys. And bam, 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 bam. He had a shotgun, and he's banging on the door, right? So we slid open the van door, and he sees a devotee shaved head putting on tilak. He sees two devotees in these mummy bags, just the face. He must have thought we were aliens and this was the pod or something. And he went, oh, sweet Jesus, dropped his gun, zing, took off in the woods. He's probably still out there hiding, waiting for the aliens to beam him up. You know, I mean, so many things.
Anyway, thank you. Very funny.
Just so, and I say this just so the devotees can appreciate.
Yeah, yes.
It didn't happen easily. You know?
No. Vijay must have some experiences.
Devotees were traveling Sankirtan in a van.
Where?
And they were sleeping somewhere in the Midwest. About 5 devotees. And it's maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And they hear, "All right, everybody, come out with your hands up." And they're like, real loud, and they open the window. There's like 12 police cars surrounding the van. And they're like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" So they come out of the van, and the police are there. Put your hands up against the van there. They're all wearing gum shoes, and they're checking them, So they said, "What are you guys doing here?" I said, "Well, we're monks. We're distributing religious literatures." I said, "Oh, yeah, prove it." So one to Braja Bihari, the famous Braja Bihari, he was the Sankirtan leader. So he gets a Bhagavad Gita, and devotees are thinking, this must be a dream. I mean, how is this possible? So he hands the Bhagavad Gita to this policeman there. He looks at it and he says, "Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai." And the devotees are thinking, this has got to be a dream. So the devotee is like, "What's going on here?" So the policeman explained that there was a robbery at a gun shop, and the van that stole all the guns exactly replicated the van that devotees had. So then the devotee said, "Well, how do you know about Srila Prabhupada?" He said, "Well, I went to school at U of F in Florida, University of Florida, and you guys fed me for years." He said, "I even stayed in the temple a couple nights."
Oh.
So then he told the policeman, "These boys are good boys. Everybody should buy a book from them." And 80% of them bought Bhagavad Gitas from the devotees.
Wonderful story. I had an experience also in Florida, going from Miami to Alachua in a van with devotee. And we were stopped by the police because one of the lights went off, during the while. So they stopped the car. I was chanting japa, and the policeman come from my window and said, "Take out your hand very slowly, from." He thought I had a gun or something inside the bag. So I showed him the japa, I said, "What? Hare Krishna?" "Yes, Hare Krishna." "Oh, I was a student in Gainesville, and you were taking prasad every day." Oh, great, to go away, no problem."
We used to stay, we were traveling Sankirtan, and you try to find somebody during the daytime, "Can we stay at your house?" So we did, because there's no question of spending Sankirtan money. So we used to stay at different people's houses, different hippies. Some did have dogs, some did have yamati. We would stay. And some of those people actually became devotees, because we'd stay, every time we went through that city, we learned, it was the whole thing. So we stayed at, it was Fayetteville, which is in Arkansas. There's a good college there. So we stayed at these people's houses, young kids, I can stay at our house. So the brahmacharis are chanting japa, I'm cooking breakfast, I was, and this naked guy walks in. Well, okay, all right, I'm a man, I can deal with that. Then a naked woman walks in. Then one of the brahmacharis says, "Hey, we gotta get out of here." It was a naked house. At home, it was a nudist colony, a nudist house. Everybody was naked. I've never seen brahmacharis move so fast. It was zing, 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 zing. Woo! We were out the driveway.
As opposed to a jhana.
Actually,
As opposed to a jhana who got lost.
Actually, Prabhupada went to...
As opposed to a jama. No, man, we were out of there.
Actually, Prabhupada went to a nudist colony to preach once. This Lone Star was the name of... Yeah, Lone Star Ranch. Yeah. Yeah.
He met Gaur Hari there.
Yeah. They had a house on a tree. They built a wooden house on a tree. And he preached to them, and they saved them. They became devotees.
Gaur Hari was buck naked planting potatoes. Came over to What do you got to say, Swami? Put a shovel down. Prabhupada preached to him, made him a devotee.
Oh, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Making potatoes. What are you doing with your life?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing all those wonderful remember. Hare Krishna. Jai. All right, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.